And so it goes on that we see this protest for and against. But this one is the second time that we're seeing women come out against the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State and the imposition of a sole administrator in the state. We're now being joined by Mr. Laolu Akonde to look at developments in not just Rivers State, but also across the country. It's always good to see you, Mr. Akonde. Welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you.
Well, this is what we're now looking at. But before we saw this protest, I mean, we also saw protests for, I think it was on Sunday we saw that protest, women clad in white. Before that, we had seen women clad in black.
Women clad in red.
And yeah, well, it does appear that the women who were clad in black are now the same women clad in red. I'm not very certain, but it does appear, because we can see, women come onto the two groups. So it's also possible that they might not be the same groups. Exactly, but this is what we're seeing. But before this, because of course the state of emergency has now been on for a while, clearly it's still not sitting down well. But what has also come up in this is the announcement by the NBA that it was moving its venue for the hosting of its annual conference to Enugu as a mark of protest, of sorts. And the sole administrator of the state saying, well, if that is the case, give us back the money that Rivers State used to support you in hosting that particular conference, because we gave it on your understanding that you were going to be holding it in Rivers State. Right. The NBA replies and says, look, it was a gift and it was not tied to any hosting rights. The administrator doesn't let up. He sends out another statement saying, look, you either give us back this gift, which we actually say is tied to, was given on your understanding you're going to host it in our state, or we go to court. Isn't this, would you say it is petty?
Well, I mean, I think that the NBA was right, in my view, to have spoken out against the state of emergency declaration, specifically against the move of the president and the action of the president and the National Assembly to remove the governor and the state assembly. Now, what has happened is that the NBA leaders don't seem to understand that when you stand on principle, it comes at a cost, okay? So you cannot stand on principle and not be willing to take the cost. It comes at a cost. There is a sacrifice that goes with standing on principle. There's a sacrifice that goes with leadership. NBA did the right thing, said the right thing, in my view, but NBA not willing to relinquish the money that is associated with the hosting, whether it's a gift, whether it's a hosting right. NBA was giving the money, state funds, in the understanding, in the context of the fact that you are hosting the event here. Even if it's a gift because NBA says is bringing the event to Port Harcourt. So I will expect the NBA to do the right thing again, stand on principle, return the money. Look, NBA is the Nigerian Bar Association. We have a lot of very rich, stupendously rich lawyers in this country. They can raise the money. As a matter of fact, I'm told by some of the senior members of the bar that over the years, what you do is very subtly behind the scene, you have some of these big-time lawyers who have very deep pockets take care of stuff. Why is the leadership of NBA allowing, this crisis to mess up the integrity of the NBA? They have started doing the right thing, said the right thing, but they need to return the money. If the government says that, okay, look, give us our money back, it's their money. And it was given in the context of the event coming to Rivers State.
Yeah, but does it not matter who gave the money? It's unclear whether it was the sole administrator that doled out the money or whether it was Governor Sim Fubara while he was still that gave the money. Wouldn't that also matter? Because as a matter of fact, it is not, if he was the one that gave it, that Sim Fubara, he's not the one asking for the money back. It is the sole administrator whose legality is still being, disputed.
So the point, Marco, is that it is the money of Rivers State.
Are the people of Rivers State asking for their money back?
Well, the people who are in charge of the running of the government of Rivers State are saying that, look, this money was given to you in the context of this event. If you are taking the event away, please give us our money. And I want you to understand my position, Mapwe. I think that NBA said the right thing, did the right thing, provided leadership when it was needed. But this kind of transactional behavior is appalling. It's appalling. We shouldn't even have NBA having to collect money from NBA. Look, NBA is composed of very successful Nigerian lawyers. How come they can't raise their own money in the first instance? What is the hosting right or gift? Why will NBA need a gift from government to do its own function? It's shameful. It's shameful. So, they should return the money.
Was that not the idea behind letting this out in the public? Because usually this is not the first time that governors or governments give gifts.
And it's bad.
Was the idea not to, bring it out and let this become some debate of sorts?
It's possible, but that doesn't remove the fact that, we shouldn't find NBA, a group of lawyers, we shouldn't find them enmeshed in this kind of controversy. We're not talking of a group of, who can't afford. Look, NBA is NBA. NBA is not the kind of association that should be going cap in hand, collecting money. It belittles the nobility of the legal profession.
Well, I don't know what Ayo has to ask on this particular issue. Ayo.
Okay. The interesting part, I've been trying to make a quote, actually, Mr. Akande. When you say that when you stand on principle, it comes at a cost. Do you think that cost was considered on both sides? The possibility of the event being moved, the unlikelihood of a state of emergency, and which led to the suspension of the governor as at this time?
Yeah, you're right, Ayo. I don't think that all these issues were taken into consideration. So what we know, that is in the public domain is that when the president acted, in a way that many of us think is out of the Constitution, that doesn't have the powers, and then the National Assembly also approved it, the matter became a fait accompli. Okay? And NBA stood out firmly to say that, look, this is not right. And I personally support that, because I couldn't also find the justification for what the president and National Assembly did. Now, what we didn't know was that while NBA was saying all of that, NBA had actually, it suggests a compromise to have I don't know at what point you started to have a situation where a very strong body, a well-to-do body like NBA has been collecting. We don't know how far this has gone. It's a very poor reflection on that profession. So I was shocked when I even heard that there was any kind of money involved. This kind of transaction, in my view, is one of the things that has brought us as a people to the level of moral, decline that we have, got into in this country. We should get things straight. It ought not to be the business of government to be funding associations that are able to fund themselves.
Interesting.
So you're right. I don't think they consider the cost. What NBA ought to do is to do what is honorable and say, okay, take the money back. As a matter of fact, they shouldn't have waited for the government to be the one to bring out the information. The moment they said that they are moving the convention out of Port Harcourt, they should also announce that we are giving back the money to the state.
But the money, from what you heard, the money is not a hosting right. It's not for hosting right. It's a gift.
Yeah.
Who returns gifts, Mr. Akande? Who returns gifts?
This is a questionable gift. It's a questionable gift. And I know that we have all gotten used to this idea that, okay, look, if they give you, there's even a saying in my language that that, you know, when you are giving money, that you reject it by putting it in your pocket. But the truth of the matter is that, you know, this is something that brings a ridicule to the name of the profession. It's not in good light.
And unfortunately,
and having this debate.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's something that is happening at a time when a good number of people are having all kinds of questions about the legal profession in its entirety, not just the judiciary, the entire space of the legal practice. I'm not sure if, okay, as I asked Captain Bishop Johnson the other time, I'm going to ask you the same question. The president declared a state of emergency in Rivers State because of a likelihood or imminent danger or unrest. Now we have two states under attack. The president said in his statement, Amakwa was gracious to remind us what everybody knows as well, that the situation in Plateau State has gone on for about 20 years. The governor, former governor of Plateau State said, we cannot, that the president needs to know that this is not just a communal clash, that the perpetrators are known. Do you see this as an environment or a ripe stage for another state of emergency? Or you think, no, this is not that bad?
Well, you know, I think you've raised very profound issues, you know, in that question as to the deep-seated causes of what is happening in Plateau and Benue in particular. So, yes, I think that the situation requires a bit more of security deployment, you know. So certainly, I won't take out state of emergency from the option, but we are not saying that they should remove the governors. But even more important is the issue that has been raised. That look, we know, the government knows, the community knows the people that are behind this kind of conduct, which the governor of Plateau State has correctly and candidly described as a genocide. So we as a people, we need to address that. And it's not that we are trying to call out an ethnic group, because it is not a problem of ethnicity, it's a problem of criminal behavior. Look, Governor Mufwang has said that in Plateau there are 60 communities that have been taken over by intruders. They kill the people, scare them away from the land, and they are occupying those places as we speak. 60 communities. And if you look at it, everybody knows who is doing it. There seems to be an uprising that we as a people and government, we are not paying enough attention to. And it's a criminal uprising. It is organized. The way that it is going from place to place, these are not just sporadic attacks. There is an organized movement, criminal movement, that is doing this, and it has been going on for a long time. I think the time has come for us as a people and the government to begin to take a very decisive approach to this problem.
I'm going to quote the statement that I quoted to Captain Johnson the other time. Jonah Jang said, the attacks are perpetrated by a known group with a specific agenda. If this was known, if this group was known and the agenda was known, then, Mr. Akande, what is stopping us from dealing with this issue once and for all?
Yeah, I think we have been fighting shy. The leadership of this country over the years, and not just you know, now, I've been fighting shy of dealing with this problem frontally. And that's the truth. You know, I don't know how many more of our citizens we have to die, we have to be killed, we have to be taken away from their land before we understand what the problem is. You know, we have people taking over other people's land and living in it. and these people are identified. It is a behavior that has gone on for a long time. It has become a pattern. We know where they are even hiding. I mean, it's just something that we have just tried to pretend as if, no, that is not what is going on. But I think it is becoming more and more compelling, and it's becoming more and more difficult for us to ignore it. I think, honestly, we are getting close, to resolving this matter. That's my hopeful view.
Does the president's statement provide any comfort? Are you hopeful that something different might have happened this time around? Because he ordered the security agencies to now be on the offensive, which sort of suggests that it would seem that they had been on the defensive.
Yeah, well, I know personally that the president would like to solve the problem. What I'm not sure of is whether the president is prepared to go the whole hog, to not be shy. I know that, yes, he's concerned, he's worried, and I believe that he understands the nature, but that statement is still, still below par. In terms of what he ought to be saying, is still below par.
What about doing?
Well, that's my point. So the president, for instance, in that statement, one of the ones that released earlier this week, he was saying that, well, look, I've told Governor Mufwang what to do. No, this is not just happening in Plateau. It's also happening in Benue. It's even happening in other parts of the country. So it's the president that has the bully pulpit and the control of the instrument of force and coercion to bring this thing to an end. It is the president that we need to advise to sit up and do what it takes to end this. And guess what? He can, because I have, inside information that he is really worried about it. Whether he will be able to lift himself up and do what ought to be done is a different ballgame. And that is what we are urging, that the time has come for us as a people and as a government to put an end to this injustice.
Well, I think it's a fine place to leave it. Mr. Laolu Akonde, a former presidential spokesperson, is our guest. Thank you so much for coming on the program.